be here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Tuesday, December 2nd, 3:36. Really quick rant here. Don't have too much to talk about that I didn't talk about this morning or yesterday afternoon for that matter. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P up about over a little over 0.3%. Choppy session here today. Talking about 679 and 683, and that's pretty much what we got here today on the SPY, all the way to highs at about 11, down to lows at 11:45, and then just been chopping around ever since. So, one half is like trading options. So you want movement, volatility with the markets. Sometimes it's nice, but on the other side, to have some kind of I wouldn't even, I guess you would call it consolidation here after the rally last week. I guess construe it somewhat positively, right? I think that's the better consolidation we have here, the better it will look when we start to head to new all-time highs. That's kind of the thought process there. We'll see how things turn out. But anyway, it's solid trading day today. It's just boring, right? And when boring, I just don't want to get in a situation where I'm trying to force trades. So for me, it's one of those days I kind of like sat on my hands. I probably should have sat on my hands more than I did instead of closing out the CAVA calls. But I'll talk about that in a second. And then yields are ticking lower. Just a nice session overall. You try and look for headlines about today's market, and it's today's Bitcoin back over 91,000, whatever. It's funny how that's kind of leading to sentiment. So that's the thing that drives market sentiment, where before it used to be the market, Bitcoin followed the market. Now it's vice versa. So, all right, that's kind of quick on the overall markets. Not much in a way of news. With weekly jobs claims Thursday, that'll be the big one. Then services PMI tomorrow. That's actually probably one of the bigger data pieces we've had in quite some time. So hopefully that comes in line. Nothing, no crazy surprise on either side. And you almost don't want to see like too strong of economic data these days, because it seems like when we get that, all of a sudden people start ratcheting back expectations of rate cuts or what have you, and then market gets a little fickle, right? Don't want to see that happen. All right, so that's overall markets. Now just quick on individual names. I was talking about CAVA, obviously, again, had those calls yesterday, locked most of them in, riding some in here today, and some half of my thought was that I was going to close some out and go out to the December 19th strikes, their weeklies. Once it didn't have any kind of like meaningful move at the open, I just get nervous with weekly options that I don't want to lose the profits, right? So I was struggling 52, 51.90, 52. So I'm like, let me just close these out for close to 200%, I guess the last little batch was. And then I was looking at the December 19th. I was actually looking at 60 strikes, and I was waiting, and then sure enough, it just goes on a run. That, the 52.50 and then 63, 53. And then I'm like, let me just wait for a pull, and that's kind of where I've been right now, waiting for maybe a little pullback here on CAVA. I think, I keep saying well, I'm not saying, but yesterday, this morning, I'm talking about those fills, right? I think it's 56 and change the first stop, and then you have 59.77 from its earnings. So key areas, and another solid day here today. What are those calls are? The 53s, of course. Well, the 60s now are 55 by 61. I was actually going to pull the trigger earlier at 60 cents. I'll probably just wait till tomorrow, though. Tomorrow's another day. No reason for us to trade. And of course, the rest of my 53s are up 500%. What are you going to do? All right. So that's CAVA. There was a little spike candle earlier today. I always talk about some folks, and I'm not patting myself on the back or whatever, but some of these folks oddly follow me into trades. And Citron Research has posted some eerily similar things in regards to Cardlytics and Teladoc, names that I've and other names he's posted about. And then you have Josh Brown, and I'm flattered, humbled if he posts stories about those folks for other days. But yeah, he's posted on Fast Money at Win one time. There's other names I post about Shaq, and there's Kava's one of those names. He's kind of like been bullish before years ago, and not that I watch CNBC, but I watch Candle Intraday, and sometimes he has those lunch money picks, and all of a sudden that thing spikes. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out with something on CAVA. Anyway, so that's CAVA. At some point, it's probably going to be tomorrow. I'll look to get those December 19th 60 strikes, or if there's any other decent risk rewards. Other names, thankfully sat on my hands on Lemonade here, down 4%. Let's see if I have the update here. Nope, sorry. But still think bull flag setting up as long as it doesn't break that lower trend line. So don't want to see it down at 64, but if it hold, it's almost like I want to see it hit there and bounce. If it does that, then that'll be the green light to get those strikes played for a move into the triple digits. Reddit into the 330s this morning. The last, I don't have too many left. Those 335s were 500%, I think. But I'm already locked in free with profits. So I'm looking for later date strikes. No sense and trying to time it. So maybe tomorrow's the day. We'll see. But 330 and change, then back here at 224, still in the green. But another solid day. You look at the Reddit chart, and frustrating because of course I would like to see it run and gun today. But I think it's 233 from back at the end of October. It breaks that, it's off to the races. So that's Reddit. And then other names I'm watching, of course. Oh, Deck. So I ended those Deck calls today. Deck's a name frustrating, right? Because I was in those calls to earnings, great earnings, and I traded off and on during Liberation Day 2 for profits. I think I had the 120 strikes back in April. Those paid off. But here's a name that kind of has been destroyed on the tariff fears, growth fears, recession fears back in April, just all these different worries, competitive concerns. And then you would think at some point to have a strong bounce because the fundamentals and stuff are still there. So the earnings kind of threw me off because great earnings and it still sold off. And then I'm like, put it on my do not trade list. And then it starts to bounce here. Now it's at the 50-day moving average, 92.25, 92.10 right now. So I was looking for strikes. I'm like, do I get the 100 December 1900 strikes? Do I get the 105s? I went and got the 105 just in regards to risk reward, less expensive strikes. Uh, if it doesn't play out, at least the risk is kind of defined less risk, right? Because if it doesn't play out and it goes under $90, a lot more risk to get those hundreds. And not only that, when it starts to move, the hundreds, 105s will have some serious multi-bag potential. So that's the thought process here. Kind of stinks. I'd love to have seen a run and gun this morning. It's in kind of just chopping around this 92 handle. So hopefully 92.25 close will be nice. And then other names I'm looking at, of course, RH. It's down 1.5% here today as these these bounce plays from 2025 into 2026. And then last but not least, I mean, take a look at strategy and coin today. These are names like I knew they were going to bounce. I posted those pictures last week, and I say no. If I had 100% guarantee, I could make 100% guaranteed profits on it. I would have got the calls, but the premiums are so expensive on strategy. Even today, it's up 7%, and some of the strikes are up 70-80%, and that's great. But you have to hold on to them, and then the prices are so expensive that once it drops, or if there's some kind of event, they're just going to get demolished. So I hope it goes to the moon. But gotta live to see another day, and I have to have kind of like a rationale of holding that position, and I just couldn't get enough conviction in holding that. So I'm trying to think of some of the other names here, but that's it. Kind of boring day today. Serve Robotics, 1033 is the big spot here. Almost looked like it was going to break it just a little while ago. And that's it. Let's have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.